Hi everyone. So tonight we are going to talk about a lot. I had a very eventful week last week, and lots of things happened, and it was crazy. But it was all for such an amazing purpose. I mean, it didn't start out that way, but things always end up pretty good. Okay, with some sort of something. Okay, first, everybody say hi to Grandma. Hi, Grandma. All right. So, tonight we are going to be talking about in a small form because we'll go on all night if I go into long form. But recently, oh wait, hold on. I'm sorry. First, I'm gonna say happy birthday to my cousin Vicky. Happy birthday, Vicky. Okay, moving on. So I didn't really realize. I mean, I know people. Not everybody like believes in Jesus and God and so on and so forth. Um, but it was really interesting to see how many people like believe that God exists and believe that Jesus is who he is, but don't really know anything in between. Reasons why, etc., etc. So that's what we're going to be conducting tonight because it's amazing. It happened the other day where I realized a friend of mine didn't like know the middle, I guess we'll call it. But then today, literally today, I found out another friend of mine who is traveling overseas was in the Dead Sea today or yesterday, whatever day it is, and lucky him. And then I asked him if he went to the Jordan River, and he didn't even know there was a river there. I'll make fun of him later, but that's okay. And then another friend today was basically saying the same thing that they don't really know anything about it, just kind of what, people kind of throw out there. So I want to just dive into that so that way you have a basic idea, beginning, middle, and end. Well, no end, but so that way you can take this and go further yourself. We are here just to bring the story to you. It's up to you to dive into it and and learn for yourself. So because that's your relationship that you want to make stronger. Not I can't tell you something and then it just happened. That'd be great though, right? Okay. So, my week last week began on Thursday, actually. Thursday? Yep, Thursday. So, I was watching Grey's Anatomy, and that's probably not the best thing for somebody to watch after experiencing what I have. Um, but I love the show, so I don't really think anything about it. And there was this episode had actually not last Thursday, Thursday before. Um, a man had stage, well, no, let's just say terminal cancer. I don't know what stage it was. I'm guessing 4. But anyway, and there was nothing they could do for him. And he's really ornery and really he was just going back and forth with Bailey, and they were fighting, and he was being just really rude. And she kind of fought back, to stand up for herself or whatnot. And he basically shouted out, I'm dying, my life is ending, I have nobody, I'm scared, I'm afraid, and so on. Well, that hit home a little bit. And I sat here and cried because I haven't, like I said before, I haven't really been there. And while I know better, I don't know, those things just kind of, if you haven't thought about them, then once your mind does start to open up to it, it doesn't really sit well with you for a while. So, I had recently, well, I'm sorry, right after that, I had sent a friend a text just asking, if grandma maybe, if they thought grandma felt alone at the time. Not, I mean, I know that before she even took her last breath, okay, I know that Jesus met her and took her to heaven. I know that. But, those little things, they kind of just start to, they just start to get to you, and you start to think about them, and your mind wanders, and whatever. And mine did. And it was more like, I don't know if it was more that I thought that she felt alone, but I was just kind of wondering what she felt. Did she think anything? Was any of it kind of terrifying for her? Just those things. Because unless you've been there, obviously, we don't really know the feeling. We just, because of knowing his love and grace, we know the process. But to understand, it's a little different. So over the night, I got over it, pushed it out of my mind and whatnot, felt better about it. And then the next day, my friend replied to me, and I know it was not her intention. This is not the kind of person that she is, but she did say something that that did not sit with me very well. Because Grandma told me, you don't have anything nice, don't say anything at all. So I didn't reply back. But it was basically just, she was concerned that I am not getting through this very well. And it hurt a lot at first, because nobody really understands, unless you've gone through it where you've lost a parent, because Grandma wasn't just a grandparent, she was my parent. Unless you've gone through that, then it's really hard for anyone else to understand what that does to a person. And Grandma is like, here's what she did. And I didn't realize this until, I don't know, weeks ago. But Grandma prepared me for this in ways that I would have never realized until now. Where, she teaches you, she taught me everything I needed to know about mercy, love, peace of your heart, and how Jesus and God, how it just takes over and leaves you with no worries. So what we all kind of see, the normal process for grieving or mourning or whatnot is, you're sad. Some people get depressed and so on and so forth. You cry, you go through this, or you kind of shut yourself off from the world, or different feelings like that. And so I've just always expected to feel that way, and I haven't. And I am the type of person who, if something is depressing me, I'm sad or I'm worried over it, I cry it all out, cry it out, cry, and move on. That's just how I've always dealt with things. Works tremendously, let me tell you. But this was different. I didn't feel like that. I didn't feel like I just could not get it out of me in order to do that. So what should be normal, and for me to be able to recognize in order to to go through the process and feel better, that wasn't happening to me. So I'm totally out of my comfort zone, or anyone's comfort zone, really, to really figure out what's happening. I didn't, I don't understand. And I mean, I understand, but I don't get it, if that makes sense. Jesus has a way of just putting his hands on your heart and making everything better. Keeps that pain, he grabs it before it even gets there. That type of thing. So I have not felt it. So trying to understand that and understand the process of everything at the same time is really, like, it's overwhelming. Like, you don't really know how to deal with it. So on top of dealing with something you haven't before, and it not being the normal way, kind of sets you up for, like, oh my gosh, how do you do this? Like, I don't even understand. I don't get it. I don't know. Yeah. So, it did. It didn't make me feel great. I was really depressed for a while. Not depressed. I mean, I was hurt. from it. And so the next day, I get a text from a different friend who had Pink tickets, concert tickets, and asked me if I wanted to go. I was not a huge fan of Pink. Not at all. I mean, like, I'd like maybe a song or two, but not great. Well, I mean, no. Not a big fan, is what I mean. Well, instead of saying no, it's a free trip. I mean, it's it's free. I'm not going to say no. I'm not. I just don't do that. And it was a chance to get out of town and, go spend it with some friends, right? Get my mind off of things. So we went, and it was a trip definitely needed, especially after feeling kind of down. So we went to LA for the concert. We went the day of, and we've always had these little things that will always identify our friendship. And Jack in the Box tacos. Why is the Owen Mobile red? Just a lot of these different little things, right? And so we took our her sister-in-law, who's 14. She's a little youngin'. And let me tell you, I've never felt my age until I was sitting in a car with her. Because on the way there, I mentioned something about a pager. Now, you little ones, hold on, okay? She says, a pager? Is that like a walkie-talkie? Okay? I don't even know. I couldn't even drive after that because who doesn't know what a pager is? I mean, even young children. But I guess that tells you your age. It felt awful. Awful. And excuse any background noise you hear. But anyway, and so what I did was I just looked at her like, oh my gosh, you can't be serious. Okay, anyway, so mortality check. So anyway, so then we went, and I took her around a little bit, showed her the sights before we had to check in. So we get to the concert, and I don't know. By the way, I only had like $20 to my name, okay? I mean, maybe I had a little more, but I mean, it was a small amount. So we went to dinner before, right there at the Yard House, and it was so funny because we're all there, we're getting our food, and then all of a sudden, our food was comped. Don't know how, don't know why, just was. So there you go. That's a plus, right? Okay, for driving that far. Because we drove, like I said. Anyway, so my friend is awesome because she bought these tickets that were in the pit, and they were VIP, so it was first come, first serve. So, yeah, and it was early entry, so we at least got some good room. I mean, some good time in. So they give us these cool little bags, tote bags with a hat and a lanyard, and our friend gets 2 hats, two perk. Anyway, point being, so we get inside, we run down. Excuse me, we run down, and I am on this, like, right here. This is how close we are. Super close to the stage. I'm literally on the stage holding onto a bar, and this poor security guard in front of me, he's like maybe a day over 18, looks like a baby, and anyway, sorry. And I am like this tall, so I'm here, and the stage is like here, the front of it, like the stage that comes out, not the main stage. But and so he is standing here, and I can't see over him. So he was really nice, cute little kid. And the poor thing, I mean, maybe not the poor thing, but to me, I'm like, my chest was in his face the whole night, and I felt so bad because if you guys haven't heard me talk about it, I can't stand these things. I hate them. They're too big. They're out of control. And anybody with a little chest that thinks a big chest is great, it's not, just so you know. Just so you know. Anyway, so they're not. I mean, they're good boobs. Okay? Just saying. But I don't like them. I don't want them. I want nothing to do with them. Anyway, moving on. So I felt bad for him. Okay? Even though that may not have been the case, but still, I felt bad for him. So he was a good kid, though. He said that he would slouch down so that I could see over him. No jokes, please. And so the concert begins, and I'm thinking I'm only going to know a couple songs. I mean, I love music, so I know a lot of stuff, even stuff that I don't like. But you know, you don't know the whole catalog. So there was a the beginning of the show was absolutely amazing. I mean, she comes out and it's like there's pyrotechnics going on. She's coming out of the ceiling with acrobatics and all kinds of crazy stuff. It was awesome. But there was a point during the middle of the show where, middle to end of the show, where sorry, I don't know why it does that. She comes to the front. Actually, she's sitting literally like right here, with her guitarist, and she sings. Well, first she sat at a piano a little further back, and she played and sang "The Great Escape," and Escape. Ugh. And anyway, so when she came in and sat in front of us, she sang "Who Knew" and "Time After Time." But before she sat down, or as she sat down, before she sang the first song, she mentioned how her dad would play guitar and they would sing together. And that hit, because Grandma and I used to do that. It was something that we always did together, besides our bat and ball. And so I only had a little bit of warning. I didn't get the full picture. But as she started to sing, I'm bawling like a baby. I'm listening, and first of all, her voice is amazing. I mean, everybody knows I'm a huge Beyonce fan, and I love her to death, and I think her voice is astounding. This was just different. This performance, this concert, okay, so Beyonce sings and entertains, okay? Pink entertains and sings. And she doesn't lip sync, neither does Beyonce, but I mean, not at her concerts. And I haven't, not that I've seen anyway, prove me wrong. But anyway, but the funny thing about Pink is that she, during a couple of songs, she had a throat lodging because to keep her voice going, which is so funny because who do you think does that, you know? And maybe nobody does that, but she sure did, and you couldn't tell until she said something. So it was pretty awesome. But anyway, and so when she sat down to sing, her voice was just something like, I mean, it hits like it gives you shivers. It's so good. And to hear it so close like that, like you're not just hearing the speakers, like when you're that close to an artist in such a large venue, it's like you don't even hear the rest. You can hear her like right here in front of you, you know, like you're talking to someone. And it was pretty awesome. But anyway, but the funny thing is that I'm over here crying like, oh my gosh, I'm crying, my makeup's gonna run, this is awful. And I look in front of me, and the little security guard is crying. And it was so cute. It was adorable. This little guy, with little tears, and he kept going like this. So cute. Anyway, kids. But it really was. It in that moment, I think I was able to take that moment, take what had happened, you know, the days before, take that moment and just really let go. I have not been able to let go, and I think that's something that that's what it is that I've been waiting for. When is that time going to come that I I can like breathe and release it. Um, even if I don't have anything to release, like I think it's just the feeling that your mind automatically waits for. Well, um, it was amazing. Okay, it was amazing. So the next day, we get up to leave. We're gonna have breakfast and then go down to sightseeing and stuff. Well, as we go down, I'm parked in between this thing that's like the wall and this big old van. And I have like this much room on each side of my car. So I can barely get in. So I wait, I pull out, and I let my friends get in after. But as I'm pulling out, there's a tow truck coming. Okay? So I see this tow truck, and he pulls up behind me and he just stops. People, I don't have a lot of patience. I've got a temper. I mean, my temper's calmed down. My patience have grown a little bit, but in general, and I have major road rage. So when I see somebody behind me blocking me in, I'm not happy. Okay, I'm not happy, and I'm getting a little angry. So I start pulling out more because if he's gonna hit someone, I mean, he's gonna hit me and then he's gonna pay me for it. That was my thought process. So my friend is directing me out. I pull out. The tow truck backs up. They get in, and she tells me, "The tow truck was here for you." Excuse me? Yeah. Apparently, when we checked in, the guy did not tell the manager that he told us to park there. 'Cause there's like 4 parking spots for like 200 rooms in that place. What sense does that make? Anyway, so I was just thinking, wow, oh my gosh, we could have been here like just stranded. And thankfully, over here, no, over here, this one right here, still watching out for me. Well, then, we're going to get to the big picture here, okay? So, the 3 of us go, we go to Santa Monica, go and, do the sights, do the Ferris wheel and all of that. And then I take them up to Malibu to go eat at Malibu Seafood because everybody should eat there. It's the most amazing food. And they have these key lime cookie ice cream sandwiches, okay, that are made out of oatmeal coconut cookie. I don't know what it is, but it's awesome. It's called Beachy Cream. That's the company name. I don't know. Amazing. So anyway, and then we go from there and we go all the way back down to Venice so that we can go hang out. Saw Jake Gyllenhaal doing a movie. He looks super skinny. And so we go do that. And then we go to stand in the water, right? Because the sister-in-law has never been down there. She's never, she's been to the bay, and that's not the same. So we went out there. She's like, let's get in the water. Okay, get in the water, roll my pants up, She wants to go out deeper. So I'm like, man, okay, let's go. I'm not one to turn something down like that. So we go out a little further. This huge wave comes in, drenches us, and then she goes, your sandals. What? Because I threw my sandals behind me. Wave came and took my sandals out. Okay, she goes to get one. I catch one on the way, luckily. Thanks. And I'm like, this is such a cool day. All these things that could happen to you, possibly, or, whatever. And then these nice things, they just kind of, things have a way of working out, a lot of people say. I tend to see it as not so much guardian angels. I never used to really I never really believed that those who pass on really do things. Like, it's always God, it's Jesus. But, but now I tend to feel like, well, what else would she be doing up there? I mean, okay, granted, it's heaven, so I'm sure there's a lot going on that, she's taking in and everything. But at the same time, this woman has watched over me for my entire life. So to think that she would just go to heaven and not continue is really ignorant of me. Really is. So I remember the night before we drove down there, I was just kind of talking to her, or talking, I was just kind of talking and really asking for things to just be okay, just give me a moment to breathe. I just kind of want some relief. Just some time so I can just catch my breath and move on to the next thing I need to do, and so on and so on. And she gave that to me. It was amazing. It felt great. It was awesome. So we decided to leave at 5 o'clock. And problem being is that the 405, I wasn't trying to sit in gridlock, okay? So we decided, well, we'll drive up and we'll bypass it. Now, you would think I've been there enough to know the different freeways, but we were already right there on, Pacific Coast Highway, so let's just go up it. So we went up it, and back up to Malibu we go. So we did a lot of this stuff. Okay. Oh. And I have to say a huge thank you to Chivo and Michelle, because the night of the concert, we couldn't get a ride. We could not find our taxi driver that was supposed to meet us there, did not meet us. And then we called the service and they had no cars. And then all the cars were going the other way and we needed to go this way. Well, we couldn't find anybody. So I called him and they were going to come get us. But luckily, a car stopped, and my friend Christina was like, we need to get to Westlake and whatever that street is. I don't know what that cross street was. So he thought we were talking about the city Westlake, and he was like, his eyes got really big, and he's like, oh, no. She goes, no. It's like a couple blocks up here somewhere, right? But listen, we had wedges on, and I wasn't walking a couple blocks. It wasn't happening, especially in the middle of the night in downtown LA. Was not happening. So anyway, so we go. He takes us. We get there. Okay, this is important. That's why I had to backtrack. So anyway, we finally decide. Okay, let's go up the highway. We'll just get up there. Well, funny thing is that as we're going through Malibu, I hit every single light, not a red one in sight. And we're driving, and I'm thinking, wow. Well, I didn't think it. I said it. Like, wow, I hit every single light. And my friend is like, she goes, yeah, I've been waiting for you to stop at a light so I can show you the map, because we're using her iPhone. It's going to be a lesson for all you iPhone people. So she goes, okay, well, this is the route we want to take. And I said, okay, but as we get it passes us. So it's a little late to take that one. The other route went like this and then up. So it took us all the way around. It was like we might as well have gone through the 405. Okay. So she goes, but there's this one, but it won't, for some reason, let me see it. Oh, I said, well, and it cut in half. So it seemed perfect, right? Well, so I asked her, will it tell you when we get there so we can exit it? She goes, yeah. I go, okay, well, then let's go that way. Okay, let me tell you something. This friend of mine, we have had some very interesting journeys together, okay? Be it in the same town we live in or not. A lot of weird things always happen when we go do stuff, but I would have it no other way. This was no different. So we go up this, so she tells me, okay, it's coming up. I said, okay. So I look, she goes, it's over here to the right, follow that car. And I look over to the right, and I don't know if any of you have ever been on Highway 23, but if you have not, don't go up it. So I look over, and the road goes like this. Yep. That's where we had to go. So I was like, all right, okay, everyone, buckle up, here we go. So we have no idea where we're at. Luckily, it's still daytime, and we're going up this hill. And Grandma grew up in Shingle Springs. So if none of you know where that is, it's about 40 miles from Sacramento, up 50. And it's just like a little teeny tiny town, okay, not in the mountains, not a whole lot going on, especially when she was alive, or when she was little, because, it's 1920s, so not a lot going on there. Anyway, so she took me up this road one time to where she lived. And this road went like this, right? Okay, it was weird winding mountain road. And she told me that when she was younger, when the cars first came out, they didn't have headlights. So, but they had horns. So around every curve and turn, her mom would honk the horn. It was the most obnoxious thing you can even imagine, okay? And as a 15-year-old kid, or 14, thinking this, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. This is ridiculous. Stop doing that. Yeah, right? Okay, well, as an adult, I'm like, well, guys, guess what? So we go up this road, and the road is exactly the same. To a T almost, except without like all the trees. It was more like, like dead stuff and dirt and whatever. So the sister-in-law, she's 14. Okay, she's sitting in the back. Two of us are sitting in front, obviously. Well, as we go, here comes the curve, just like this, right? And then one like this. And then one that goes, like this. And then up. And then it swirls up the mountain. I start to tell them about Grandma's story and what they did when they were younger. So now we are going around every curve honking the horn. All right, just to beep, beep. Every horn, every horn, every curve, every turn. I am driving 20 miles an hour. Okay? 20 miles an hour. Yes. And then, as I'm driving 20 miles an hour, we're like a half an hour in. We can't stop laughing because we can't believe that we've taken this turn. And then my friend decides to go, tries to go on her phone, and like she zooms in on, because when she decided to take this, it just looked like it went straight. A couple little curves, nothing much. But when you zoomed in, it shows you the crazy little road. Of course she didn't do that before, because that would be, logical. So anyway, so here we are. We're 30 minutes in. I have people following me, so I pull over so that, they can go around me, because I don't want to be that guy. And then I can't stop laughing. They're laughing, and now it's become contagious, so now I can't stop. My eyes are watering because I'm crying. I'm laughing so hard. And so I have to pull over to catch my breath, because now I can't even breathe. So I get a minute, and then I pull over on a curve that is like, there's no barriers on these sides of these roads, okay? There's like a little hill like this big, and that's it. That's it. There's no little wall, not that it would matter, but there isn't one. And there's no shoulder. It's road and 2 lanes, and that's it. Okay. So, as we go, 30 minutes in, and she looks at her little phone and she says, oh, we're a 10th of the way through. A half an hour in, and we're only a 10th of the way through? Holy goodness. Okay. So here we go. We're driving. Go around some more curves. Beep. Curves. Beep. A couple more. Beep. Beep. Still dying laughing. Can't stop. Well, now there's a van behind me, and I can't pull over anywhere for him, because now I'm going like 15 miles an hour. And I'm sorry, I got distracted. And I'm going like 15. Yeah, I slowed down a little bit. And I'm sorry. Hold on one sec. Oh my gosh. Okay, anyway. So I can see the guy in my rearview mirror. The side one, not this one. Side view mirror. And I look behind me, and our windows are down, by the way, so you can hear us laughing. I mean, if you're close enough, and I'm pretty sure this guy could, because I look behind me, and the sister-in-law, she's like, he's so mad at us. Oh my gosh, I bet he's so angry. And I look, and I'm like, this guy is totally laughing at us. He was like couldn't control his face laughing, right? And I'm just thinking to myself, this is ridiculous. So as we go, here's a fork in the road. said, do we go this way or do we go straight? I don't know. Okay, well, I'm going to go this way. Nope. Not that way. No, no. So I go to pull over and they're screaming their heads off, thinking that we're going to fall over the side. There's a big like shoulder. I had room. Okay, just for the record. Anyway, so we go back and now the van luckily had, could get away from me. So we're driving. And there's huge mountains, right? And I keep thinking, where did this road even come from? Like, it's not even, there's nothing here. And then all of a sudden we look down and there's a full, little commune going on of mansions in this canyon. Like, I don't know who lives there. Nobody in their right mind. I'll tell you that because, they have to be celebrities that want nobody to find them. They have to be, which I wish I would have thought about because maybe I would have gone looking for some. I'm just saying. Whatever. But it was like, what the heck? So we go through this part and now we're only at 2/10 of the way through. It's been an hour and a half. I'm thinking I'm never going to get home. Oh my gosh, we're going to die out here. Okay? Maybe not. But luckily I had enough gas. But point is like, where does this place come from? No wonder your phone wouldn't show you this route. Hello, this is why. Okay, so we get out of it, and then it takes us to 101, back to 23. I don't know why 23 doesn't just continue, but it didn't. And so it took us through Ventura, and then so now it's nighttime. Okay, we've been on it that long. And so it's nighttime, and then we go off. We're back on 23 now. I saw 101 and thought, yes, home. Let's go home. Negative. So we're driving, and now we're back on a new canyon. Yeah, there's a couple canyons on this thing apparently, which we didn't know about because we didn't look. So we're going, and spins around, and now there's a bunch of cars. So there's 2 cars in front of us, and then a couple cars behind us. And I'm like, oh yes, we've got a team. That's right. We are getting through this thing, no problems. We got a team going on here, and it's just gonna be, this is it. All right, we got it. Well, then all of a sudden I look at my rearview mirror and the people behind us are gone. All of the cars behind us gone. I don't know where they went. No idea. And then the car in front of us, right, like between me and the first car, went off this way somewhere. Not sure where, but he took off. I'm like, oh man, people are dropping from the team. This isn't good. It's one and one for all. Everybody, all together. Guess not. So I'm following the car in front of me, but now this car thinks that he's gonna little speed racer and takes off around these curves. I'm not going around these curves in the dark faster than I was going around the ones in the daytime. So it's gonna take us a little while. And if any of you know me, then you know exactly, you know that driving, I don't really drive slow. So this was painful to me having to drive this slow. So anyway, so we finally are getting to a stretch. We're 8/10 of the way through. Okay, so I'm thinking, okay, well, this is going to drop us after the grapevine, so we don't even have to go through the grapevine. So this is awesome. All right, so we'll bypass the grapevine and we'll just go straight into the Central Valley. Guys, looks like Magic Mountain over there. Guys, pretty sure that's Magic Mountain. Guys, pretty sure that's the grapevine. Yeah. Still had to go through the freaking grapevine. Excuse that. I like to say freaking. I don't know. Anyway, it's a Christian cuss word, I guess. Whatever you want to say. So, yeah. So there we are. We're at the grapevine. So by the time we've got out of this thing now, we should have been home. We should have maybe a half hour to go to get home. No, because we have been driving for 4 hours on this dumb road. Highway. It's not a highway, okay? It's not a highway. From what I understand, a highway is elevated off of the ground, kind of does a little thing, little dome shape like this. That's what I was told a highway was. This was not like that. This was almost concave, okay? So anyway, so it's like 10:30. We left at 5:30. Yeah. 10:30, we finally get through the Grapevine and we get into the Central Valley, and I get to drop off one of the friends. Well, then I leave there and I have to drive all the way back to Sacramento. Okay. Right. And I have to stop in Madera first. So we're going. And we get on the road, right? And I stop at Sonic to get some, food to go. I'm sure the people thought I was high because I was so tired. Shouldn't have even been had any business being there, okay? But we left. And I'm like, okay, so we're driving, and I look and I say, Lemoore? Well, that's not right. It's not right. I missed the turnoff to come home and went south back to LA. Oh my gosh, it was like my car wanted to go back down the roller coaster, and I was not going, okay? But it was taking me there. So I finally get home. I don't know what time it was. It was really late. But I was so tired. I started seeing little things like doing flips in the road. It was awful. Don't ever drive like that. I mean, I was totally okay, but obviously still. Anyway. Okay. So you see that? It was so funny after. I mean, it was funny during, okay, but it was exhausting. And the days later, I looked back at this trip and I thought, it's so amazing to see how even now she still takes care of us. Only Grandma would have sent me down that little road, okay? Only she would have done that. And the trip was exactly the same as when she took me up her road when she was showing me where she used to live. It was, I mean, we laughed the same. We experienced everything the same. And it was one of the highlights of my life, if you can believe that. Understanding what happened there, I think, is something that I will never be able to really fully express to anyone else. But she knew I wasn't feeling great. She's always wanted me to be happy. And after a trip like that, experiencing everything we did, every single step, and watching how things happened in the way that they did, was absolutely amazing. And this road is a very good example of, we may be going an hour and a half tonight. This road was a really good example, this route, let's say. Because even though we see it, and we see that it's there, it's there, knowing what it consists of is a totally different thing. And kind of like life, right? Knowing that you have to live out this life without knowing anything that comes along with it. Anything that's going to happen in the middle, anything that's going to happen in between, and how one spot's going to get you to the next, and so on. And destiny is the same thing. You start here, you got to end here, but how do you get here? What's going to happen in between? What roads are you going to take to get there? And I've gone over this before, but to go more in depth, God is a very large, very big idea. Okay, so you have this idea, and you know the things that trickle down from it, and stories you've heard, things that you've seen, and you kind of just throw them all together and poof, there he is, right? And a lot of people believe that just because you believe that he exists is the same as believing in him, and it's not. As I've said before, I have believed my entire life in the Bible, what it says, everything it's given us. Believe God exists, believe that Jesus is, who he is, that he is the Messiah, that he is the Son of God, that he was born to a virgin in a manger, and, all of these things, that he walked on water, that he turned water into wine, all, everything. But I never understood it until I myself sat down to experience it. So, tonight, what I want to express, what I want to put out there, explain, is just exactly who Jesus is. I don't know if any of you on Facebook have the Bible as a like, but recently they shared that they are making a movie, not just the miniseries, but a movie, a motion picture called Son of God, which obviously is going to be all about Jesus. Normally, I wouldn't tell someone to go, to get your information from things like this, but they did such a good job with the Bible miniseries that it's definitely worth watching. Especially if you're not really one into, reading and whatnot. I know a lot of people have trouble with the Bible, which as you get into it, you'll see that it actually becomes a lot easier, and it's not boring, and it's not, anything like that. But, when you get into it, when you start it, you're just a little unsure of it. And like I said, especially if you don't read a lot, then it's a little much. So if you need something to kind of start you, to kind of give you an idea, the Bible miniseries is great, and I'm pretty sure this movie is going to be amazing. It comes out on my birthday. What? That's right. I always knew that my birthday meant something. Okay, I'm not saying that this is it, but hello, pretty special day for this to come out on. Okay, I gotta say I'm pretty happy with it. But anyway. So let's do a crash course. That's what we want to do tonight, so that at least you have something to come back to just reference, so that you can go on a search yourself, looking through your Bibles and whatnot. So the prophecy of Jesus began way before the New Testament. Okay, that's first and foremost. His coming was foretold way before the New Testament was even thought of. Okay, well, I shouldn't say that, but the New Testament, it begins with his birth. So when you read the Old Testament, and this is why I've always said that the Old Testament is still relevant today, because it proves who Jesus is. Because the prophecies that were given in the Old Testament are proven in the New Testament, every single one of them. Okay, so we know that Mary was chosen by God to bear a son, and she was a virgin. And the only man that would, well, I shouldn't say that. Well, yeah, the only man that would take her did. But he was already a part of her anyway. They were, but people looked at them very wrong for her being pregnant and them not married. Obviously, we know what everybody thinks, but nobody understood that she was carrying Jesus. She was carrying God. So Jesus, what Jesus is this: God put himself in a soul-like form, which is called the what? The Holy Spirit. Okay. And impregnated her not the normal way, but with the Holy Spirit. So his spirit, God, okay, his spirit is inside of her, growing as a human being. Okay, so if you break it down logically, that's how God and Jesus correlate to each other. Okay, so he is a son because he was born of his spirit by Mary. See? Okay. But this was God's way of coming to us in a human form so that we could I always forget the word I need. So that we could you know, it starts with an R. I hate that when that happens. Anyway, so that we could connect with him, okay, on a regular level, like on a human to human level. And but at the same time, Jesus was his own man. So after being born in a manger on Christmas, okay, everybody with me? All right. So Jesus was a carpenter, yep, of trade. As he was growing up, Jesus knew who he was and what he was meant for, okay? But as a trade, and you're just like think of it like chaplains, right? Not preachers and pastors so much, but like a chaplain, right? How they minister the word and everything, and they do different things for the church, but they have a day job. Similar, right? That's the kind of life it was back then. You still had to work, and you still had, he had to provide for his mom, and so he was a carpenter. He built things. Well, then, as he grew, he told Mary that it was time for him to go to spread the good news, right? To spread the word of God to everybody, to the masses. And so Jesus went on and he found his disciples. So we'll get into that another time, but mainly, he found Peter on a boat fishing. There were no fish. And so Jesus asked him for his time, do you believe, do you want me to help you? Basically, he's saying, trust me and I'll give you everything you need, right? He says, you're a fisherman, right? Because that's what he was. He was a fisherman. He's like, I will make you a fisher of men. Okay. Got it? All right. So he's on the boat with Peter. Jesus put his hand in the water, swirled around a little bit, I'm imagining, or did something in the water, right? And then threw the net in. And Peter pulls out the net, and there's nothing but fish galore. This is the first moment where Jesus is really, this is where he's showing to his disciples, or singular disciple at this time, that this guy is somebody. Like, I don't know who he is, but he's somebody, because I had no fish and now I've got a whole boatload of fish, right? So Peter believed in it, whatever it was to him. He was going to follow him. So as it goes on, what Jesus did was Jesus went to all of the people who were nobodies, who people cast out, not the rich and not the famous, or probably not famous then, but not the rich, not the royalty, not nobody of stature. No, he went, or of a high stature. He went to the people that everybody counted out. Peter, and oh my gosh, tongue tied. Okay, so Peter, Matthew, oh my gosh, I hate when that happens. Like, your mind blanks out. Okay, anyway, he went to all the disciples. Okay, there was the tax collectors. There was somebody that there was one of them that they felt was a terrorist. Mary Magdalene, who many think was a whore. Sorry, it's a real word. But may not have been. We'll go through that later on. Okay, that's anyway. But she was also of a lower, um, stature within their community, so to speak, okay, within their little villages and whatever. He went after the lowest of the low that other people considered, okay? And he took them in and he said, this is what I'm going to do for you because I believe in you and I believe that you will believe in me, okay? So he and the disciples are, they're going to all of these different villages, just preaching. The disciples help, bring the people in, and they tell them of who Jesus is. They don't realize he's the Son of God yet, okay? They just understand that he's a preacher, a priest, a rabbi to them, who is coming with amazing knowledge, right? And then he gets baptized in the Jordan River by John the Baptist. Now, for all of you who don't know the Jordan River is where Jesus was baptized. And yes, it exists. Okay? For my friend out there who did not know what the Jordan River was. Anyway, so he was baptized by John the Baptist. And John the Baptist, what at the time was prophetic. So he is portraying all of these prophecies of a man who's going to come that is greater than he is, because when you're prophesizing things, people are looking at you like you're pretty high up on this totem pole for God to tell you things that he's not telling anyone else, right? Think of it like that. So these people flock to him to be baptized by him. And as he is stating that, there was one to come greater than I, enter Jesus. And John the Baptist baptizes him. And when you read it, you're like, wow, it's really like, wow, Jesus was humble, knowing good and well who he was. He was still very humble, a humble heart, bringing himself down to those who feel that they're just, less than everything else. And when you watch, for me, when on the Bible series, it was awesome. Other movies and things have depicted it. Depicted it? No, that's not right. Depict it. And shown it in different ways. But the Bible series was just put together so well that when you watch Jesus be baptized, it's like you just think, wow, how awesome, how amazing. This man is of the Holy Spirit. He's going to heaven regardless, right? But he still gets baptized as a symbol, because as I've said before, the water baptism is it's symbolic, is what it is. It happens in your heart. That's where the saving and the loss of, the regret and just everything, it happens in here way before it happens in the water, okay? Or maybe not way before, but it happens there before it happens in the water. And the water is something for others to see and for you to kind of magnify what you felt in your heart, okay? It's not because, well, I'll get there. It's not something that physically has to be done in order to get to heaven, just so you know. But it is something that is worth doing. It's not something that is, it's not, ritual is not the word I want to use, because it's not even that. It's something that you are just showing to others. It's your way to show the world and to show God, even though he already knows, I'm doing this for you. My life is now yours. Everything that plagued me before is gone. Right? Okay. Jesus came without sin. Jesus did not sin. Jesus was perfect, but still wanted to be baptized. And more than anything, symbolic for the purpose of showing that John the Baptist is the one to baptize him, right? To show that all who have believed in John and what he's doing for the purpose of God meant something. It was real. You know, John is who he says he is. John has the gift that God has given him, right? It's something for you to view, something for the others to see, to understand. It was all a part in Jesus coming. Okay? It was all a part in the purpose of why Jesus came. And so there comes a point where Jesus is, he's going out to the masses, and he's preaching to everyone about God and the love that he has for us all. Because, in the Old Testament, God comes off pretty mean, right? I mean, we've talked about this. He comes off kind of like rough, like vengeful, obviously, because he is. But, I mean, he doesn't come off very loving, it doesn't feel like. And the purpose of the human form, one of the purposes, was to do that, like I said, to connect with us individually on a human level, so that he understood, or so that we understood, what the deal is, right? You don't want your creation to turn on you. That's the opposite of what you want to happen. So this was his way. So when Jesus comes with an open heart, like I like to call it, an open heart, a loving heart, merciful, and he's showing these, all of these people, he's showing the masses that God actually loves us despite what has happened in the past, despite what we've learned, despite the way we've learned it, yada yada, whatever. He's here to tell you that he loves you. And that's layman's terms, obviously. Like I said, when you read, you're going to find a lot more. But that was his way. That's what he did. And there was a point where Jesus, leading up to the crucifixion, the arrest, I should say, and then the crucifixion, where Jesus wandered out in the desert to prepare, to get ready for what was about to come. And there were points, let me backtrack really quick. So, Jesus came with healing powers. What? Yeah, healing powers. Like you see on TV, okay? Like that. So what he did was he made a blind man see. He made a lame man walk. Peter cut off a guy's ear and Jesus healed it. Okay? And then he resurrected Lazarus from the dead. Opened up this guy's tomb, right? Put his hands on him. And the guy was alive. Walked up, got up out of the tomb, and walked off like just another day. Why did he do these things? Show off? No, absolutely not. We as human beings ask for proof for everything. Everything, right? Funny thing here is that until the resurrection happens, everyone is told, wait. Just wait. You're going to see things. You're going to experience things. But wait to share the good news. Right? So, as Jesus sits in the desert, I love talking about him. As Jesus sits in the desert, Satan presents himself to him, basically giving him a choice. you're going to endure the most suffering any human being is going to ever endure. Okay, right here. Or I can save you from it and give you everything. So Satan tries to tempt him while he sits in the desert alone by himself. And Jesus looks at him and says, no thanks. No thanks. I know my purpose. I know why I was sent here. This is God's human moment right here. This is the moment where we all find out how human we actually are, right? Temptation. It's rare that you find somebody that doesn't give in to temptation. I mean, no matter how big or small. I mean, think about it. Let's think about this, right? Somebody comes to you. Let's say you're on death row, right? You're on death row. Okay. And you shouldn't even be there. You have no reason to be there. You are innocent as they come. But God tells you, stay true to who I am. Believe in me, and I will set you free. Right? But you're still stuck in prison right now. You're still in death row. But God tells you, believe in me, and I will make everything better. Right? But here comes somebody, and they're like, I will get you out of prison if you do this, and this, and this, and whatever it is. Right? I'll give you $1 million when you get out. I'll do this and this. All you have to do is go against what God's plan is. Okay? Who is going to turn that down? Who's going to turn that down? You're getting out of prison. You're getting $1 million or whatever. You're getting all these things that are promised to you. Or you can stay in prison, probably die, and you just have to hope for the best. Right? Not many people are going to turn that down because many people don't understand the point of God, the point of Jesus, the point of, eternal life. Because remember, Satan can't promise you eternal life. He can't promise you immortality, okay? He can't, because you know what happens when you go his way? You end up in a lake of fire for the rest of eternity. So okay, so let's say, eternal life for sure. Burning forever. And you're not dead. You don't die. You just feel this burning sensation over your entire body for eternity. Okay? All right. So that's what Jesus was faced with. To imagine that he said, no, I know what's coming for me. I know what's going to happen. But you can't give me anything better than the Father can. Satan walked away. That was it. Right? He walks away, leaving him alone. And then Jesus comes back and they have their Last Supper, as everyone has, seen the painting of, right? And they all sit around. They're having dinner, breaking bread, so on and so forth. And Jesus has a vision. And the vision is basically, time's up. Get ready. So he sits down. Well, they're probably sitting down anyway. I mean, they gather together. He gathers them and he tells all of the disciples, right, all the apostles, he gives them bread. And he says, this bread is my body. Eat of it and you will be with me. Or I'll be with you. Okay, I'm paraphrasing people. Okay. The wine, this is my blood. Drink of my blood and you will have eternal life. very symbolic. And this is what we have communion for. This is the point where the disciples are deciding who he is, and they all have an idea of who he is. They've all pretty much figured it out, right? And he asks them before, backtrack, but he asks them before everything, well, who do you think I am? And Peter tells him, I think you are the Son of God. Pretty deep moment, right? Like, okay, I've found my people. I've found the ones that are going to follow me. Everything is right. And now they know that everything that was going to be given to them is being proven. Everything that he's promised is about to be, it's about to come true, but they don't know anything yet. They don't know what's about to happen, right? They just know that they are following the Messiah. They are following legit, right? The Son of God. God, right here. And they get to follow him. Man, can you imagine what that must have been like? To walk alongside Jesus. Think about it. So we all know that Jesus existed. Historical things and books and logs, everything, that they do not deny that Jesus existed, that he was born, that he lived on earth, and that he was killed and crucified. Okay, those three things are historical. Matter of fact, we even learned about it in school, because back then you were able to, during world history. Okay, so sucks for the kids now, but anyway, so this isn't just a biblical moment. Okay, this is a historical thing. So now that everybody understands who he is, they take the bread, they drink the wine, and Jesus tells them he's going to be betrayed. They will deny him 3 times. And then he tells Peter that it's Peter. And Peter, remember, Peter is the one that's been with him from the beginning, right? From the start. The one he is going to make a fisher of men. But he's going to deny him 3 times. He's going to deny the fact that Jesus is the Son of God. Which is really, think about it. He's the one that was there first. He's the one he first found. He's the one that's been following him so strongly. He is the one who first says that he is the Son of God. He's the one that acknowledges it. And he's going to be the one that denies him. Of course he couldn't. No way. I would never deny you. But we all forget that as human beings, when we're caught up in a situation, it's survival. Lying is a part of survival. It doesn't always work. Okay, but doesn't mean we don't do it. So later that night, while they're in the garden, yeah. Anyway, Judas. So we all know who Judas is, right? Or we have all heard his name. We've all heard his name. Well, Judas was one of his followers. Well, Jesus, while in the temple, or while in the the temple, Jesus walked through the little, like, let's call it a little, like, farmer's market type thing, right? Where they sold their goods, and it's the marketplace. But for what we see now, it's like a farmer's market. And he walks in and he realizes all the stuff that's going on, right? And the temple was built for the Jews who were given Israel by God, right? King David. He was ruler. That was, that's what it represented. It represented their I always forget my words. Their overcoming, we'll call it, okay, of of the enemy. And this was God giving it back to them. So the temple that sat atop this hill right before Passover, Jesus went in and, he's looking around and he sees all this stuff going on, right? All kinds of stuff, all bad things. People, doing things for money, and, money is their it's their everything, right? Type of thing. Or doing this or doing that, just all kinds of stuff. And this is where he comes in and he says, my house is supposed to be a house of prayer, but you've made it a den of thieves, right? Because this is a place, imagine this as like a major church, right? Somewhere extremely holy, sacred, that should be meant for, praising, right? And worship and whatnot. But people are in here selling goods and, turning it into something that it's not. And he comes in and he just throws everything. He just makes a scene, right? Makes a total scene. And then he says that he's going to destroy the temple and rebuild it in 3 days. Well, obviously, they didn't like that. So, they want to find him and they want to arrest him. Well, Judas found out that if he went and he tattled on him, that they were going to give him coins, lots and lots of silver coins, right? As a reward for turning in Jesus. Because when you come in and you say that you are the Son of God, you're the Messiah, you have to remember that there is a prophecy in the Old Testament, like I said, of Jesus, but it doesn't name him Jesus. It just says that a Messiah will be coming. Well, you have to think, the people that are in the temple now at this time, they're scholars, okay? So they've come from wealthy type families, and they've gone through all this teaching and all this type of just blah stuff that make them up here, okay, compared to everybody else who's just attending temple, right? Okay, so they assume that the Son of God is going to be one of them, right? I mean, not necessarily them, but somebody like them, somebody with some high stature and whatever, right? Not some little homeless guy who is a carpenter walking around in some sandals and like a little sheet or whatever. They expected it to be someone of higher breeding, higher power, whatever, yada yada yada. Mainly kind of like what we think, the way we see people now, right? Like that. Like, you wouldn't think the homeless guy on the corner down there would be somebody that's actually the Son of God, right? And of course not, because that's not how we think. But in this case, it was. However, they didn't believe it, so they offered Judas money to tell on him and turn him in, which is why everybody uses the term Judas as for people that are backstabbers, liars, that kind of turn your backs on, that kind of thing. That's where that comes from. So he turned him in. They came for him, arrested him, and like I said, Peter was trying to fight back. Oh man, I totally forgot the whole point of not the point, but anyway, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm going to tell you at the end. Can't forget. But, so Peter, trying to save Jesus, he tries to cut one of the soldiers. He's fighting him with a sword, and he tries to cut off, I don't know if he tried to cut off, but he cut off the guy's ear. And that's when Jesus healed it. Even when he's being arrested and held, right? Like, against his will, knowing that what's going to happen in not so much a long time. He goes over to one of the captors, puts his hand on his ear, and heals his ear. Ear's all back, like normal. Telling you what, most of us would have been like, that's right. Yeah, now stab him in the chest. You know what I mean? Like, we would have been like, this is not cool. Like, get him. Let me go. No, he didn't, because he knew that this was part of the process. He knew that this had to happen. See, Jesus knew before coming here, obviously, because he's that guy. As a child, he knew, growing up, his purpose for being here was, like I said, it's to show all of us that despite what we've seen, despite what we've heard, despite the events from before, that even though we are not perfect, that God really does love us. That even though we will commit sin all the time, he wants us to understand just how much he still loves us, right? Just how much. So he said, I'm going to prove. Everybody wants proof. Only a fool asks for proof. But I'm going to prove just how much I love you. You. All of you. Every last individual that I ever created. And they took Jesus to Pilate, who was the head of the Roman army, or whatever you want to call it, Roman whatever. And his wife even told him that she had a dream that there was an innocent man going to come, and that the people wanted to put him to death, but she was innocent, and she cried. And she didn't know what it was, didn't know what it meant. It made her feel really awful. Pilate didn't know what was going on, so, he just ignored it or whatnot. And then they brought him. And I said I was going to do the short version of this. Maybe this is a short version. It is, because I left a lot out, but that's for you to find. But long portion short, they brought Jesus to Pilate. They told Pilate what law he broke was, because I can't think of the word, and it was that he's calling himself the Son of God, and that goes against their law, their religion type law. So not regular law, but they can't put him to death, because if they did, they can't put him to death because it was Passover, and that is Passover is their time for, it's their time of worship. So obviously they don't want to be killing anybody. Well, so they go to Caesar to Pilate to ask him to do it. So Pilate asks Jesus, what crime? That's the word. Do you believe that this is a crime? And do you believe that you have committed this crime? He doesn't answer. He doesn't say anything. He just stands there kind of like, this is ridiculous. And he asks, do you think that you are the Son of God? Jesus says yes. Defining moment right there. This is the moment where you can lie and possibly get out. Mind you, this has happened a couple times, right? with the devil, Satan, whatever you want to call him, where Peter can almost get him, they can help get him away from the captors. Okay, that's another point. And right now, he can lie and he can say, I don't think that, I never said that, or whatever, whatever. He can try to get out of it, but he doesn't, because he knows that his purpose needs to be fulfilled. And so they lock him away. The wife realizes what her dream was about. She talks to Pilate, begs him not to put him to death. So instead, Pilate brings him out with a murderer. Okay? Puts them both up on top of this thing in front of everybody and says, I am going to pardon someone today, hoping that they will pick Jesus, right? I can let a murderer go back into civilization, or I can let a man who has done nothing but say he's the Son of God, and we can let him go. And they pick the murderer. So Jesus is set aside. Murderer is out, barbarous. He's out running the streets again. In the meantime, Judas hung himself with so much guilt. Yep. So much guilt over what he did, knowing what he did, understanding that Jesus is really who he says he is, and what was about to happen. He felt guilty. He felt like he felt responsible for what was going to happen. So Jesus sits. They make him a crown of thorns because he figures that he is the Son of God. So he is the King of all kings, right? He is a king of a kingdom that is beyond this world. King of all kingdoms. And so they made him a crown of thorns. So imagine that sitting on your head, right? Like this. Imagine that. What that must feel like. And they push it in, right? So that it stays on. Jesus is someone, but at the time, was someone that knew of his options, knew that what was in front of him was going to be nothing but torture. But he told himself, he's reminded, God reminds him, you are dying for the sins of the world. You are dying to show every single last person for generations to come that though you have sinned, there is a place for you in heaven. And because of the sacrifice that Jesus is making, because of this, right? All of us have a future. We all have a future. The only thing he ever asks of us, the only thing is that we believe in him. Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. You can only come to the Father but through me. He doesn't say you're going to come to the Father for giving all of your riches over to the poorest person. He doesn't say that you are going to go to heaven because, you made the most out of your life. He's not saying that. He is saying to you, if you believe in my son, if you believe who my son is and who he is, not just that he exists, not just that I brought him here, not just that I'm here hanging out, no, that if you believe in him, that you believe in what he came here for, that you will have an endless, endless life in paradise. You have to understand what he went through in order to really understand the meaning of it. You see, the emotions I have felt during this process with Grandma that you expect to feel, you never understand at first. When it happens to you, it's, even though you've seen these things, you've been prepared, until you've really felt it, you'll never really understand it. To know Jesus, to know God, to believe in them, you have to understand their purpose. You see, Jesus took a long walk, right? From birth to the cross. On this walk, always knowing that his life was only brought here to give to all of us, to be sacrificed for all of us. They put the cross, these huge 4x4s or whatever they were, big huge boards, right? He's been beaten. He has been hit over and over with whips, chains, bats and whips with nails in them. I mean, every weapon that you can imagine. He's got slashes all up and down his body, on his face, his back, his front, his legs, his arms, everywhere. A normal person wouldn't have made it through 3 lashes, right? No matter how tough you are. I don't think so. And he took hundreds of slashes. Then expecting him to carry this cross all the way to where he would lay on it, to where he would be nailed to it. Okay? He's got a crown of thorns on his head. He's now been beaten to, extents that none of us will ever be able to truly understand. Carrying a cross. He's had nothing to drink, nothing to eat. He's carrying this cross on top of him, on top of the lashes, okay? They get up to the hill. They lay him down. Mind you, at the same time that he's being crucified, there's 2 other guys going to be on 2 other crosses. Or, I don't know if they were actually crosses, but anyway, going to be the same way. I don't think that they were nailed. I think that they were just tied up. I have to check that. That I don't know, so don't quote me on that. But anyway, But Jesus, they laid him down on the cross. I was trying not to hit anything. Laid him down on the cross. Nailed right into his palms, right? Right into his palms, into the board. Put his feet like this, and nailed, bam, a nail right through his feet, because they were together. On the cross it read, Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews. And the Jews didn't like it, obviously, because, hello, that's why he's there. But it was appropriate, because it's true. And as Jesus hung there, there were two men on the crosses next to him. This guy, to his right, mocks him. You're supposed to be the Son of God. Where's your God now? Right? Because obviously you think of God and you think, well, he's, all powerful, so he can do whatever he wants whenever he wants it, right? Never really realizing that people have their choice to do what they do. Free will. They don't understand that God has a reason for everything. If Jesus had just come, been arrested, and shot, what does that, what kind of sacrifice is that, right? How does that pull at your heartstrings? You know what I mean? It sucks, because obviously the premise of it, but suffering, that's the part that we have to understand. Because back then, had Jesus never come, had Jesus never been here, we would be the ones suffering at death. We would be the ones taking those lashes. I don't know. Being nailed to crosses. I don't know. But I do know that for eternal life, if you were in spick and span, hell it was. And that was your only option. But no. Mm-mm. See, we would have never understood that had this just been, one and done. We would have never understood that. We would have never understood what it would mean without a visual, without proof. As Jesus hung there, the man to the left of him, who had not been baptized, up there, I think he was a thief. I always question that, because I can never remember for some reason, and I can never find anything that time. I was just anyway. Point is, I always forget. But I'm pretty sure he was a thief. But he tells Jesus, "Will you save me a place in paradise with you? Will you save me? Will you save me?" Basically, it's, will you save me? I want my life to go. I want it to go. I want to go with you. I want to go where you're going. I believe who you are. Just in the fact of him saying, "Will you spare me? Will you save me?" That was him accepting that Jesus is who he says he is. All the proof he needed was there. It was, every last bit of it was there. And I don't know what kind of proof the guy needed, or what he saw that made him believe it, but he did. And Jesus told him, I will have a place for you in paradise with me. He wasn't baptized. He, not underwater, but in his heart he was. When you give everything over, you say, "This is it. I know what I've done. I see what I've done. I don't like it. I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to be this way anymore. I don't want my life to consume me so that all I'm doing are these things in order to try to get me out of what I'm in, but it just keeps making it worse. I don't want that anymore. That's his purpose. His purpose was to come to show us that. He laid there, hung there, and he told Jesus, or I'm sorry, he called out to God, asked him why he had forsaken him. Because he knows the purpose, he knows what's going on, he knows the reason. Where is he? When is it going to end? God needed to show us that Jesus felt it. Not just that he was there as a visual, example. No. Because if we just see him hanging there and all this stuff happening, but it's not affecting him in any way, well, that's not really going to do anything either, right? A lot of us learn by doing, learn by seeing. And he hung and he suffered and the blood dripped out from his body. And then God took him home. So after God takes him, which is a really cool story from what I understand, what I've read, not in the Bible, somewhere else. The soldier comes, and to make sure that he's no longer living, he stabs him in his kidney, and blood gushes out on him. And the story is, from what I understand, which I'll try to find the link to it and post it, is that as the blood was pouring on his face, that he saw God. That God showed him who Jesus really was. That was his proof. That was his vision. So as Jesus dies, a great earthquake happens. And it just, demolishes the temple. Just like he said he would do. Mary cried. She looked at him. She knew who he was and she knew his purpose, but it's still her son, to show, my belief is to show others just how real he really was. The love between, a mother and a son, it's really there. That was real. He laid in his tomb, wrapped in a shroud. So, like this, clear, white, but wrapped wrapped all around, all the way down. And they did their blessings and so on and so forth. Well, one day, Mary Magdalene was, she went to go visit the tomb to, probably pay respects or whatnot. And the tomb had a big stone, a boulder in front of it, in front of the opening of it, so that nobody could get in, get out. And when she got there, the stone had been rolled away. She walks inside. Well, she thinks somebody's stolen Jesus' body. But the shroud was still there. There's just no body. And as she stands there, he appears behind her. And she's not sure what's going on, and he tells her that it's him. Shows her his hand, the hole through his hands, to show proof, and he tells her, go tell the others. She runs back and she tells them. They don't believe her, you know, but they're like, what's going on? So Peter goes with her. They go back to the tomb, and he appears there. And he shows Peter that he's alive, and he's not dead. Now imagine this. You've been beaten without food and water. You've had to, you know, your exhaustion. You've been hit in the kidney and blood is spewed out. There is no way in the world anyone survives that. You've been nailed to wood for hours. There's no way anybody survives that. He was dead. They were positive he was dead, right? Okay. But now he's up and he's walking his life. It's not like a, you know, no. He's not a ghost. Okay? He's not a ghost. He's there. He's there. He's alive. He's real. Put your finger through the hole, whatever you want to do. It's for real. Well, they go back to tell the others, and the others are a little like, what? What's going on? Are you sure? What, you know? And Jesus appears to all of them. And he shows them. He walks by, shows them, you know, shows them the hole in his hands. Hands, not wrists. And so now the prophecy has been fulfilled. He is born. He preached. He's been crucified, arrested, crucified, and now has risen. He's alive. And there's a point where they all gather together and the Holy Spirit comes over them and they start speaking in tongues. But it's all about the miraculous, you know, things that have happened that they've seen, and it's everything they know. But I don't know why that thing keeps shutting off. It's everything they know, but it's all in different languages they don't speak. And they're praising God, and you know, and Jesus, and they're just, you know, the Holy Spirit comes over them, and then it's gone, and they all realize what just happened to us, right? Yeah. So it's time for them. They all go up to the mountain. Jesus talks with them, lets them know that their job is now to tell everyone about what's happened and that he is to come again. They do. And they were all killed for their support of Jesus, which is it's no secret or anything, obviously. Obviously. But that's how important he is. That's what his journey meant to all of these people. They believe in him so much, they were willing to die for it. And that doesn't change. I mean, as Christians, we know that not everybody is for it. And he says, if you deny me, then I will deny you before the Father. So Peter did deny him. They asked him who he was, and he did. He denied them 3 times. But when Jesus came back, he let them know that all was forgiven for every last one of us. It was our decision to make whether we wanted to accept it or not. And so I bring to you once again the explanation of sin. If you don't understand sin, then you'll never understand what that sacrifice meant. You'll never understand it. If you don't understand where you've been, you'll never understand how to get away from it. It takes a big leap of faith, a lot of trust. And I know a lot of us are not trustworthy. We've had a lot of things happen to us that make us weary of things, you know. A lot of it. But that's the point. At that point, you have to decide, man, what's it gonna hurt? I've already been down here. Can't get any lower than I'm already at, right? What's it gonna hurt to try to go up? What's it gonna hurt to try to give something over to someone else that I can't do anything about anyway? So really, what's the difference? What is it gonna hurt to take that little map that's not exactly highlighted and go down it and see what happens? I will tell you all, the city that road took us to was Westlake. Now, if you don't remember, the night of the concert, the cab driver, when we told him our hotel was on Westlake, he thought we meant the city. Can you imagine what he must have thought? And we didn't even know this city existed. Didn't even know it existed. And here we are, taking a route we didn't know about, never knew was even there. And it dropped us right in Westlake. Down this windy road, Highway 23. I have to tell you, people, there are just, there are things that happen out of our control that unless you put everything else aside, everything you've ever learned, thought, heard, unless you put that all aside, sometimes you're going to miss the things that are really there to show you everything you need to know. Like I said, Grandma, even now, there has not been a day that she hasn't taken care of me. I don't know what I ever did to deserve her. I don't know. I don't know. There are going to be moments that I have. There are going to be times where, my human emotions get the best of me. My trivial thoughts that I can't seem to suppress. Because that's part of life. It's part of life. And there are going to be days where my faith will get me through anything I need. And I know that. But the road leading to it, sometimes you just have to go down it. In order to know the outcome, sometimes you just have to walk the road. Or sometimes you have to just drive it. And then all you got to do is honk. Beep. And it'll always get you through it. Jesus came to forgive us of our sins, to save us from them. It's up to us to walk down the road that leads us to forgiveness. It's hard to understand, and I don't blame anybody one bit. It's a road that unless you're willing to look at it, I can't tell you that you're going to go down it. But I will tell you that as somebody that's been down the road, it has been the most amazing experience that I even ever thought was possible. I have had an amazing teacher, as I will say forever. And all she did was teach. It was up to me to experience it. It was up to me to say, I want to know more. I want to feel it. So I'll thank her every day for preparing me for that moment. Thank Jesus for calming my heart and giving me peace so that I don't have to feel depressed and I don't have to feel, I don't have to feel sadness all the time. The sadness is not because she's gone. It's because you miss them. And he gives me moments all the time with her. He gives me moments, in my dreams. Moments like that trip where I can have a moment to let go. Or I can share a memory that we had, be reminded of it, experience it again, and share it with others, people I care about, to help her live on. Grandma was not just another person that lived here on earth, On top of her being a parent to me, my best friend, my soulmate that God gave me to, on top of all of that. Grandma, there was something about Grandma that was just different from anybody else. There was just something about her. And it's the most amazing feeling when a friend that you have or an acquaintance or whatever it is can come to you and tell you this and this and this happened. It made me think of your grandma. It reminded me of your grandma. And they're really good things, They're really things that definitely would have been something she would do, say, whatever. It shows me that no matter what, physically or not, that woman is still alive. She's alive in me every day. And if there's a point where somebody doesn't like it, then I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. She taught me everything I know. Everything I know. She is my stronghold to the faith that she brought me to. And I'm sorry if you don't like it. I'm not really sorry. I'm not. But, it's the same. But that will never change. The life that she created in me, that she created for herself, the light, his light that she shined so brightly to everyone else. I mean, I will never let that die. Never. I don't believe in death. I don't. I've been forgiven, and I will forgive everyone. It doesn't matter what you do. Because guess what? I don't feel any angst, any anger, any animosity. I don't feel anything like that towards anyone anymore. I mean, as, human emotions, you get like a little if in your throat, or whatever. But that's it. I mean, that's it. And it's because she taught me that. And it wasn't just something that was taught, but finally in a moment, I was able to feel it. And now I know what it feels like to love people instead of hate them. And that's because when Jesus died on that cross, when he was beaten, when he was just, see, that happens. It gets you in a moment. But when he was suffering for us, if you sat down and you took that moment in, and I told a friend earlier today that kind of brought this subject on, she hadn't watched Passion of the Christ, and I gotta tell you guys, if you ever wanted to see something visual to try to understand, watch it. And just watch that scene alone. I mean, that scene alone will give you an idea. And then imagine being there. Not even Jesus. Just imagine being there and watching it happen. Could you? Probably not, because I don't know, there are very few people that I know that can watch Grey's Anatomy. Okay, not for the sad purposes, but because of the the cutting and the blood and all that. So imagine being there in person and watching it. Imagine being him and experiencing it. He loved us that much. And she taught me that. She taught me that. And her expression of it was so amazing that before Passion of the Christ ever came out, I already knew, and I could feel it. It's the same way as your mother hugs you, holds you when you're sad or you're depressed or you're down or whatever, you're sad. What he did for us on that cross is the same thing, but he did it for every single one of us, past, present, and future, all of us. It's important to know that, because without knowing that, you will never believe in him. And that's the only thing that he's ever asked. You cannot get to heaven without going through him. And I know that kind of brings brings a stigma to things, and like I said, not a lot of people are readers, so the Bible is kind of like a issue for some. But I mean, not telling you to read it front to back, cover to cover, in that way, it's a good way too, so that you get the lineage and everything. But I mean, just open it. Just open it. When you're feeling like, I need to know something, I need to know this, that, or the other, just open it. God's going to show you. People don't understand that the Bible is his way to talk to you. That's his way. You don't know what's going on. You got something going on and you need an answer and you can't find it anywhere. The sign that you're looking for is not always going to come like shoop in your face. It's not. Sometimes you got to open up that book and look. I mean, you are not even going to know what you're looking for. You're not. You're just going to be like, I don't even know where to begin. Just open it. Just open it. He's going to give you the answer you're looking for every single time. I promise you. And eventually you're going to be able to be with it. You're going to your mind's going to settle within that Bible, and it's going to be a lot easier to read. Trust me, because it took me a little while to understand that, but it happened. You just don't really, I don't know. It takes a minute for you to understand that. Like I said before, I tend to pray before, so that way he can help me understand, because sometimes it's hard. But like I said, the point to all of this is that he is the greatest love you will ever know. His sacrifices for us to save us from hell, from eternal fire, to save us from death, is the greatest love you will ever know. And who doesn't want to know that? I mean, I've never understood that. Who doesn't want to know that? I guess people feel like if you read the Bible or you go to church or whatever, that it presents itself as you have to kind of accept your life and the not so perfect life that it is, the sin and whatnot. But Jesus is what he's trying to say to you is that I died for those sins. So everything that you're doing and everything that you've done, as long as you come to me and you tell me that you're sorry, that you just want forgiveness for it, that your heart is like, I'm over this, I don't want this anymore, I don't want to be like that anymore, it's gone. He's forgotten. It's like it never even happened. Please don't take that as saying that it's okay to sin because you know you're forgiven, because that's not the same thing. when you give everything over, when you give it all over and you just break down and you're like, I need you. I need you. I know who you are. I know what you can do. And I want you to do it for me. When you do that, that's your moment. That's when he's like, what do you need? Don't think about all that other stuff because it's gone. I don't even know what you're talking about. Stuff's gone. And this right here, this heart, is going to start changing this up here. They're going to start working together instead of separately. And all the things that, used to feel right, all the sinning that used to feel like it was okay, but if you don't even feel it anymore. You've like just no desire for it anymore. It's weird. It's like, we're all sinners, so we're going to fall. Things will happen. But your mind and your heart don't purposely do it anymore. It just doesn't happen. Like, again, things will happen, and sometimes things feel that they're just out of your control. Doesn't make it right, but your heart is in a new place. So now your heart is already speaking back to God. And I'm going to tell you, most of the time it's a learning experience and he's testing you, because he does that. He likes to have his fun. I'll tell you right now, because Grandma likes to have her fun. I can only imagine that she and him have a whirlwind of a time. But there are going to be moments that you're tested, and it's not always him either. It's not, hey, there's this other one over here still trying to get you back to his side. So, just the point is to remember that no matter the test, no matter the outcome, whether you fall and you fail and you just bomb out, don't worry about it. You look up and you just say, I'm sorry, I don't know how I did that. Gone. If you succeed at it, I fought temptation and it was awesome and I didn't even have to think about it. Same result. Same result. So remind yourself of that. No matter how far you fall, he's always going to be there to pick you up. Whether he's here in front of you, whether this is 2,000 years ago, whether it's, whether he's in heaven. He's going to take you down some winding roads that you didn't expect to go down, but he's going to get you out, and he's going to make you remember it. He's going to give you a reason to remember it, and then he's going to help you understand it. All right, I'm like 2 hours in. I'm sorry, people. Oh my gosh, it's taken forever. And I tried to give the short version, but let's be honest. The story of Jesus is so miraculous and it's so amazing that it's kind of hard to, shorten it. But I really, really do want to recommend, if you haven't seen it or watched it or you don't own it or whatnot, find somebody that does, go buy it, whatever. Get the Bible series, the Bible mini series on DVD or Blu-ray or whatever you have. If you do the digital, I think you can buy a digital copy. I'm not sure. I wish I would have, because it's a lot easier to watch that way with my messed up DVD player in there. But it's a really good, I like to call it a study guide type thing, because if you watch it while you read your Bible, you can figure out what parts are what, and you can read along with it, and you get a visual of what the Bible is trying to tell you, or what the Bible is telling you. You're just trying to learn. It's a really good tool. I definitely recommend it. The Son of God is out on February 28th. What? My birthday. 2014. So definitely get out there to watch it. I felt really amazing talking tonight. Besides the fact that I was refreshed from my last week that left me exhausted. The noise was kind of down, right? We didn't have a lot of motorcycles till right now. So that was really good. I smell fire coming from my kitchen. I think somebody's burning something. So I probably should go for that really quick. But anyway, I did. I felt amazing, and I really felt like this week was, or that last week, the end of today, was definitely for this purpose. As I say always, this is part of our story, and it's amazing how she just keeps adding to it, and how he keeps adding to it, and whoever it is, whichever one it is. This last weekend had a lot of grandma tones to it. So whether it was her by herself or she told him to do whatever it was, two of them working together, I'll thank them every day for it. It really did help the healing process, which will probably be, a long time coming. It is the 6-month anniversary on Friday of her passing. So I want to probably spend a day just to, have little moments with her. I love her. I love her so much. I really wish everybody had the opportunity to experience the life I did with her outside of everyday life itself. The life between us was more than I deserved. But I did. But I got it. So, just kidding. Okay. All right, everyone. So I am going to go ahead and stop. And I will see you guys next week. I hope I have cool stuff to talk about. Maybe we'll go a little more in depth next time. Maybe not too much, because you guys should be reading your Bibles. That's where I'm just giving you stuff that I've experienced, and everybody's experience is different, so how we all learn is different, that kind of thing. So I'm just giving you my testimony. I'm giving you our story and where we've come from, and where we're going, and so on and so forth. So I definitely encourage you to open up your own Bibles. Like I said, don't even start at the beginning if you don't want to. Just open the thing up and just start going. Figure it out as you go. Because he's going to talk to you, and he's going to change your life. And I can't tell you what it's like. It's something that money can't buy, and it's something that power can never give you. So with that, I will see you guys next week. And I started the last chapter of the book. I still have to fill in a couple of the middle chapters, but I did finish it. Or no, I started it. I'm not finished yet. I still need to finish it. I think I'm going to do that this weekend. And I also have the title of it. I'm so excited. I don't know what I'm going to tell you guys though. So, but keep up with me. Stay tuned, and I will probably do a contest. I'm thinking I want to do a contest. Yeah, I want to do a contest or something. I don't know. I want to do something. But anyway, I will let you guys know as soon as I'm ready to tell everybody, because it's going to be amazing. It's going to be awesome, and I can't wait to finish it. And because I do these every week, and I feel like sometimes I'm taking a little bit away from the book, because sometimes I talk about some of the stuff, but that's okay. That's okay, because I'm very more articulate when I read. Right. No, when I read. I skip words sometimes. Dyslexia, But anyway, point being. So that stuff will be coming soon. I cannot wait to get that out to you guys. I will be doing package deals too when it's ready, so I can't wait for that. I don't know what with, but we'll be doing something. I'll have something totally ready for everybody. I'm super excited for it. So I want to just kind of get through the holidays and, get that together and whatnot and so on and whatever. And then hopefully, I'll have the release either in February or April. So we'll see. It's coming soon. So just like he is. That's right. So I gotta get the book out quick, because he's coming quick. Hopefully. I'm ready for heaven. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm ready to go. All right. So I will talk to you all later. We'll see you guys next week. And make sure to follow me on Twitter, @DiazOnline, and on and then on Facebook under D's Devotionals. All right, so I will see you guys next week, and everybody have fun and be good. Bye, guys.